I'll die with student loan debt. You can't get out of it.
My haul is $170,000 of student debt.
Why nobody told me that the student loans will f your credit up if you don't pay them? Yo, I thought I could just ignore it like a medical bill. What do I do? That just dropped my credit so much.
Okay, so today we're going to be taking a look at some student loan crash outs. I know that this is a very sensitive topic to talk about, but I feel like I could see this from both sides. As someone who believes that many degrees are just not worth the cost of tuition right now, especially in this job market, I think many people are getting straight up scammed. Taking out 5 or 6 figures worth of debt when you're 17 or 18 years old, when you have basically no knowledge of the real world and finances, is very dangerous. But also, as someone who fell for this as well, I knew that these student loans would not go away. They will follow you for the rest of your life. You can't even declare bankruptcy, along with making it harder to do many other things in life, as we'll see in this video. We have a ton to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's start off with a clip that more and more people are starting to realize every single day.
I logged on to studentaid.gov today because my loans are in forbearance, and I figured, hey, maybe while they're in forbearance, I can make some extra payments and try and get the principal down. You can't. You have to pay the interest first. So not only do I have $5,000 of accrued interest, like already, the daily interest rate for my loans is $24.89, which means if there's a 31-day month, in order for me to touch any bit of principal on my loans, I have to pay the $5,000, and then I also have to pay over $771.71 for any of my principal to ever be touched.
And that's what happens when a lot of people don't realize what interest does. Over $5,700 has to be paid just to start bringing down the principal interest. I don't think I have to tell you, most people don't have that kind of money just lying around in their bank account. So every month that goes by, this situation just gets worse and worse. I graduated back in 2015, $48,000 in loans. I paid $700 a month for 6 years. My loans are now approaching $90K owed. I will not pay another dime as long as I live. We're going to hear that a few times, but there are definitely consequences to that as well. I graduated college with roughly $30,000 in loans. They're now approaching $80,000 after just 3 years of post-grad. And we have another one here. I'm pretty sure she signed and I guess did not read the fine print. The creator replies, I actually did things the cheap way starting off at community college, which I think is good advice, but I just did 7 years of higher education and that's expensive. So I'm not exactly sure what she does for her line of work. It kind of looked like from the background that maybe she was a teacher, maybe not. There's even more on screen when you suddenly realize you have $50,000 in student loans, paid $70,000 so far, and still owe $30,000. I found out the $35,000 loan that I took out at 17 years old turned into $70,000 while I was still in school. Now, we haven't heard any of the actual interest rates so far, but there is a comment. If a $35,000 loan doubles to $70,000 in 4 years, that means the balance grew by 100% in 4 years. Using the rule of 72 or compounding math, the approximate APR is 18 to 19% per year. What kind of loan did you get? The creator responds, literally got an interest rate equal to my age at the time, and I just thought that was the game. I can't even imagine doing that. I think my loans were at the 6 or 7% range, and I thought that was kind of high because I saw other people in the 3% range, but basically 20% APR. Another one, me midway through a conversation remembering I have $60,000 in student loan debt and make a $500 payment every month for the balance to just keep going up. Literally the same. I basically sold my soul to Sally Mae. I think a lot of people did that, unfortunately, and we have a comment from you guys that goes very well with this. He who understands compound interest earns it. He who doesn't pays it. I know I've said this a lot throughout my channel, but this is the reason why I make the type of videos I do. I do truly think being financially literate and having this type of knowledge at an earlier age would put you way farther ahead than most people. I wish I watched these types of videos when I was 17, 18 years old, especially the student debt horror stories and what happens to interest. Because as I've said before, I think a lot of people believe that interest, for example, you buy a $10,000 car with 10% interest. By the end of the term length, you'd pay back $11,000, 10% of $10,000. Unfortunately, that is not the way it works, and the longer the term length, the longer it stretches out, the interest compounds and gets worse every single day. So hopefully some of these videos can make people realize it before it's too late. I do know from the analytics of my channel that about 6% of the the audience would be currently going through this situation. I know it's not a lot, but still, hopefully this helps out at least a few people, but we'll move on.
Every now and then, I check on my student loans, just to make sure they're still there. I don't pay them, but I check on them every now and then, like a good mother should. But no, for real, I knew that I was in forbearance because I had like that. They were trying to sort out whether they were going to cancel the save plan or not. They canceled it. Of course they did. But anyway, it's supposed to resume this month. And I'm really glad I checked because they were going to withdraw $438 and some change from my bank account. For one, they weren't going to get it because I don't have any money. And for two, who are you getting that money from? It's not me. I'm not paying that.
I think we should just transition right over to the next clip because this is what's going to happen to her in the future.
Why nobody told me that the student loans will your credit up if you don't pay them? Yo, I thought I could just ignore it like a medical bill. What do I do? That drop my credit so much.
The word loan was a dead giveaway, and for that reason, I'll be in school all my life till loan forgiveness comes back around. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but there are consequences now when you don't pay off your student loans. Your credit takes a hit, which in turn affects more of your life. We could take a look at just one of the examples here.
Just spent like an hour fighting with the student loan people. It obviously did not go the way I wanted it to. It ended with, sorry, your credit is impacted. Last month, I found out that my credit was bad because I applied for an apartment and didn't get approved. And I was like, that's odd. That's never happened. So I look and I find out that I've not been paying my student loans since January. I didn't even know that was happening. I didn't get any emails or phone calls. So I called him and I talked to some guy, super helpful. He gets my loans like back in good standing and said that my credit will reflect that there were no missed payments. I'm like, okay, great. Like everything is solved because I didn't even know. I didn't even know that this was happening. If I did, I would have called. I would have logged into the stupid app. Like I just had no clue. I truthfully had no idea. And I checked my credit today because I need to apply for an apartment. And it shows that I have 63 missed payments because I have multiple student loans.
Okay, so a couple things. The credit hit from the missed student loan payments will make it harder for you to get an apartment. Of course, if you wanted to buy a house, car loans. It's not just something you'll get in the mail every month, see the number go up and just completely ignore it. She can't even get approved for an apartment anymore. The other thing with her not knowing this was happening, I mean, I guess that could be true, but I personally don't really watch the news. I'm not 100% in the know when it comes to current events, unless it's something about finance or the economy. But as soon as the news broke out that student loan repayments were starting back up, I feel like it was on every news article, social media platform, influencers, really everybody was talking about it. I feel like you couldn't turn away from it. So I have a hard time believing that she had no idea that this was occurring, but now she has 63 missed payments. We'll go to some of the comments. January, it took you 9 months to look at your credit score, and you applied for an apartment before looking at your credit score. 63 payments. Did you think that the loans just stopped? Keeping track of your debt is your responsibility. If you missed 63 payments, you knew the money wasn't coming out. A lot of comments like that, but she made another post as a follow-up.
So now I'm going to spend the next, half of my life doing what? My credit is not going to get better. She also said, one of them, I don't know how much it'll go up each month, but each month, if it's in good standing, it won't show that it's a late payment. It'll show that it's current and good standing. So it will slowly go up over time, and depending on where you live, it will go up more or less. I said, what do you mean? Depending on where you live, your credit will increase monthly based on your payment status. I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? Where do I need to live? Where do I need to move where my credit will go up a significant amount based on my payment history status? Where am I living in the place where it gets worse based on my payment history status? What are you saying?
Okay, so I have no idea what the woman on the line is talking about. I've never heard that. Maybe that is a thing. I guess if you live in nicer areas, your credit score goes up higher. That sounds absolutely ridiculous to me. But this does really highlight how incompetent a lot of these people are, especially if you try to do any of the customer service with the loans. We'll see a few examples later in the video how crazy this gets. But we'll go over to the comment section. Just declare bankruptcy at this point, clear out all of your debt, and start over. Well, you could do that if you want, but student loan debt does not get wiped clean. It will be around until it's paid off. That's why I was saying earlier, I knew that I had to pay off my student loans. There's no way around it. Bankruptcy isn't an answer in this situation like people would say if they're in a whole bunch of car debt or credit card debt. But we have another comment from you guys. I made the mistake of going to a private university and graduated in 2019 with about $130,000 in student loan debt. Fortunately, my degree wasn't totally useless, and even though I barely use it, it led me to getting paid enough to stay afloat. It started with several Sallie Mae loans, with interest spanning from 7 to 11%. Managed to refinance and get 6.6%, and I started dumping all of my extra money into that loan until the pause on the federal loans ended. Those extra payments lowered my minimum monthly payments on the private loan, and now I'm focusing on paying off all of the federal loans. Currently sitting at around $70,000 still owed, but I'm on track to have everything paid off in 3 more years. I think that's also been a problem over the past few years with the pause during COVID. A lot of people just wrote off student loans completely. They didn't make any payments, even though interest wasn't accruing during that time, and people do not have enough money to pay it off. I mean, we got examples here. When people bring up student loan debt like I don't know ball, trust me, I know ball with $388,000 in debt. I've forgiven myself of all my loans. Well, the banks definitely have not. POV, you just got your doctorate degree with $160,000 in loans. That honestly, I don't think is that bad in comparison. $160K is still a crazy amount of money, but my manager has $234,000. She's not paying it back. Well, they're gonna start garnishing your manager's wages if she doesn't. Doctorate, I got my master's and it was $255,000. Let me go ahead and pay back my $5,000 and stop complaining. Wanted a Christmas shop, but my med school loan said be serious with $561,000. I know that some of these clips are for medical degrees, and of course that is one of the careers where you could make a ton of money, but still just seeing 500,000+ in debt, I wouldn't be able to handle the stress. My dad had 300 grand in student loans back in the 80s. He paid it off by 2020. I don't even know what to say. We just have to move on.
I'll die with student loan debt. You can't get out of it.
How much in student loans?
So my schooling was $90,000. I'm close to $200,000 in debt with interest.
How long has it been?
Almost 20 years ago.
Have you ever bought something and then instantly regretted it? Like just bought something dumb?
I bought a pickup truck,
How much was the pickup truck?
like $80,000. It was used, $80,000. My plan was also to put it on Turo, right? So other people can use it as well.
Heard about this scheme before.
And then I had friends that were like, no, let me just lease it from you. And then I've gotten over. And who pays for the truck?
Imagine if she put that $80,000 towards her loans. We did hear the second half of that clip before. I did not know that she also had $200,000 worth of student loans in the first place. Plus $80,000 for a pickup truck. It has to be a Raptor or something like that, right? Trying to make some passive income off of Turo, and we've talked about it before. It's not nearly as hot of a market as it was during COVID. And yeah, now she's stuck with 2 giant debts.
I'm sorry, but Sallie Mae emailing my grandmother in her 70s to tell her that when I took out my student loans and she co-signed, she accepted joint responsibility for the repayment. Like I've said this so many times, these private loan companies take advantage of the fact that older people, like boomers and above, who co-signed for millennial and Gen Z students that were, you know, their children or grandchildren in my case, they take advantage of the fact that those people are susceptible to shame about money responsibility. Like, this doesn't work on me. This does not work on me. Like, I don't have a responsibility for this, actually. I have let it go. It does not serve me anymore. But they are, 60 and 70-year-old people do feel shame when a company calls them and leaves a message or sends them an email or a text every single day that your payment is late, that you are not living up to your responsibility.
To me, it sounds like you're taking more advantage of your grandmother than these loan companies are. Wait, did your grandma co-sign on it? If so, she is responsible. How dare you compromise her credit in that way? This is on you, not Sally Mae, and she replies, millennial traitor. You could say whatever you want, it doesn't serve me anymore. Okay, so now you've let your 70-year-old grandmother deal with all of this stress, and let's be honest, this is in her sunset relaxing years. I think this is definitely more on you than anybody else. You do have a responsibility. You signed a contract. It's actual money, not fun money. If she co-signed, she is responsible. If you don't meet your responsibility, she signed an agreement. Shame on you, not Sally Mae. Can't wait till they start garnishing you and Mima's wages. I mean, I feel a lot worse for her grandmother than her, but that is just a crazy situation.
You would also look like this if you have been crashing out about your school loans all morning, okay? This is how much this is how much I still owe in school loans to become a doctor. Look at the original price, look at how much I still owe. Yes, that is a comma. $351,194.68.
Okay, so if you did see up at the top of that clip, the total original amount awarded was $618,000, and she brought it down to $351,000. Of course, again, $350,000 is an unreal amount of money, but this is one of the very few career paths that I think this is worth it. You know, becoming a doctor or a lawyer. The salaries that you can make being in those professions, I think definitely outweigh even the insane balance in this clip. But we could go over to the comments section, enroll in one class a quarter for the rest of your life at community college and stop bothering trying to pay them back. Well, that is a very good transition into the next clip.
Here's how I haven't paid my student loans and why I never will. You don't have to pay them back. All you have to do is re-enroll in community college and take any associate's degree. Dance, pottery, doesn't matter. As long as you're in school taking part-time classes, it will defer your loans for another year.
So take on more debt, school classes aren't free, they'll garnish your retirement so you can't retire at all. Just pay the loan, bro. Why would I pay almost $17,000 per year when I could pay just $1,700? So that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna be perpetually in community college into your 80s? That's how you're gonna get around this, along with having a full-time job just to survive in this climate. Something tells me this is not going to work out in the end. Another comment from you guys, this is exactly why I decided to set money aside for my loans during the pause on payments. Once everything was lifted, I paid off all my loans and now I'm debt free. The mindset should always be that you need to pay back anything that you borrowed. Better to pay than get refunded rather than not pay and face penalties. And with that last sentence, a lot of people thought that everything was just going to be forgiven. On top of the pause during COVID, many people chalked this off. But I actually did the exact same thing as he did. As soon as the pause was lifted, I just paid it all off. I did not want to have to deal with interest payments, and I was able to save up while I was working. And even back then, I felt like they were not going to forgive my loans. So that was just going to be on me no matter what.
Okay, just having my monthly crash out about student loans, so thought I might as well record it. Maybe we can capitalize on it. I'm just so sick of unhonest creators being like, here's what I spent this month, or like, here's this haul. Here's my haul. Okay, here's my haul this month. My haul is $170,000 of student debt. That's my haul.
My grad loans are at 9%. I'm paying $2,400 to $2,900 a month in student loans. Luckily, I don't have a car payment and don't pay rent, but you're basically paying that and more every month for those loans. I feel like personally, I got lucky because I was not great in school. I did not have the grades to go to a 4-year. I just went to community college, and after a while, when I eventually knew that I was not going anywhere, I ended up dropping out with a little over $20,000 worth of debt, but that really looks like nothing comparing a lot of these examples today. Another comment from you guys, I think the main takeaway from this video is not that the student loans are out of control, but rather the cost of an education is. I mean, why not both? The earlier clip with the almost 20% APR on the loans, how is that even allowed? On top of tuition going up almost every single year with all of the colleges and universities, it just does not seem worth it to me anymore.
The first year that people graduated with all this debt and they were told immediately to go themselves. That was when college ended. College ended when people left college with all this debt and a degree and went, what do I do now? And they go, you tend bar. You actually do what you did in college. Here's the good news. You know that side job you had in college? That's your real job now. That's when college ended. College is just, now it's just a place to go and socialize and have fun and go to parties and get laid and whatever. It's no longer preparing you for the world. It's doing the exact opposite. It's miring you in debt, getting you to develop a substance abuse problem, and sending you out into the world completely clueless.
I feel like this hits home with a lot of people. Even the comment at the end with the substances. I know that a lot of people end up taking Adderall during college because of the amount of work that's needed, especially if you're in a very demanding degree. Long-term usage like that is a lot more common than you think and can develop into even worse problems in the future. One of the comments from this video I hear all the time as well, college is all about networking. I'll reply right after that. Networking is such a Weasley way for universities to put the blame on their graduates. I'm paying $40, $50, $60,000, $70,000 a year to go to your university to network with other kids, and then after I get a degree I don't get a job that pays back those student loans. It's just all on me. Does not seem like something that I would want to partake in at all. Another comment right here from you guys shows that in the end all of these colleges are just a business, a money-making machine. In 1965 about 6 million people attended college. By 2024 that number has grown to nearly 20 million. The surge was accentuated by the availability of massive student loans. As long as people could legally borrow large sums under the promise of greater opportunity, college can keep raising their prices, and that's what they do almost every year. The result is a feedback loop, easier access to loans, more students willing to pay, higher tuition costs, and even greater reliance on those loans. To the point now where you could be making $80,000, $100,000 a year in a pretty decent job that you got that degree for, and it's still not enough to pay back those debts, and the interest just gets worse and worse.
This is the reality of someone that grew up poor and thought college was going to change my whole entire life. Bachelor's degree, probably spent nearly $100,000. Spent like $65,000 for my nursing degree. And the nursing one was worth it. Not this one, but I have a 13-hour job. Is that worth having $100,000 of debt that I had no idea how bad loans were? I nearly have to pay like $800 a month. But I have a job, but what the
Okay, so I get what he's trying to say. Some of it I didn't understand. I don't know if his job was paying $13 an hour or he had 13-hour shifts because he was an RN. If that's the case, that's kind of the name of the game if you do want to become a nurse, which even with these high prices, I know he basically burned $100,000 with the first degree that you didn't end up needing, but nurses do typically get a pretty decent salary. How do you spend $100,000 at UCF? No, you should have gone to community college for the first 2 years. $65,000 for an associate's degree? I'm not sure. Again, that is one of the careers that I would say taking on a good amount of debt would probably be worth it, but that cannot be said for a lot of other degrees and careers. University's over, we're all unemployed, $60,000 in debt, AI is taking our jobs, and it can't go on like this. And because of this, people talking about switching career paths are all over social media.
I think I've officially decided that I'm going to drop out of college. Instead, I'm probably going to do like real estate, something along those lines. I hate school. I've always hated school. And like right now, like I don't even know what I'm going to college for. I'm literally just wasting time and money. Within the past year, I've gone to 3 colleges. 3. I've literally hated all 3 of them. Anyways, I thought of this last night because I was taking a shower and I was really tired of school and doing homework assignments for a class that I literally don't want to take. I would have a job. I would have a job faster than I would going to school for something and then getting a job after school. Like right now, I work 2 freaking jobs and I hate it so bad. And working 2 jobs, I literally make no money at that. I guess I would stay in school to take the certification classes, but that's it.
We're just gonna go right over to the comments. Do not, I repeat, do not go into real estate. To be honest, just be careful with real estate because people who I know are doing it say it can be super hard to stay consistent, especially since the housing market is not the best right now. Real estate is not stable. It's a side hustle for a lot of people. There just does not seem to be a lot of conviction with what she's saying. She just doesn't like school. Apparently is racking up the debt as well, going to 3 different colleges in a year. Does not like doing homework or anything that revolves around school, so I'm just going to be a real estate agent, as if that career path is just that easy. Walk around showing people houses and then collecting commission checks. It is a lot more complicated than that.
So I just got my bill for 1
semester of college. $8,000. Why am I paying $8,000? I don't understand. That is so much. And I'm paying for it. It's not like my parents are paying for it. I'm paying for it. I don't have $8,000 to just spend for one semester.
Did you not know the price of the college that you went to before you signed up? I feel like that's kind of impossible, right? All the finances are set up and shown to you while you're picking classes, how much it's going to be per credit and everything else that goes along with it. $8,000 is actually nothing at all for a semester in college. It still is a lot of money, but people are paying way more for that right now. I was just kind of baffled with her not knowing the finances whatsoever when she was already enrolled. Now we can get into the segment with all of these loan companies being absolutely ridiculous or incompetent.
My student loan servicer just called me. Apparently I'm a little bit behind on my payments, so I went to look and see how much they were calling me about. How much could possibly be enough to call me and bother me at work? Like, good Lord. Should I just change my name to Maduro?
So if they're hounding this guy, calling him at work for literally $20, I think that really shows for every other example in this video that you are not going to get out of these student loans.
I was about to log in to do a payment for my student loans, and then all of a sudden it says paid, and I was like, oh my God, do I have like a random donor, or did like a secret sugar daddy, or did someone make a donation or something and like decide to pay my student loans? I literally almost started crying. I was like, oh my God, I'm free. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just be safe, because, you know, gotta always be safe than sorry. So I call the like student loan provider and I was like, hey, like I saw that someone made a payment for my student loan and they paid it all off. Like, I don't know who did that. Like, I want to thank them. Who did it? And they were like, oh, yeah, no, there's just a new provider. Don't worry, it's going to transfer over. It just says that. And I was like, oh, okay. But I was also, because I was like, I was checking my emails and I didn't get anything about this. But I was like, I hate it here.
So I mean, I guess I'd be in the same boat as her if I was in her situation. No email or contact of any kind saying that the loans are transferred. It just looks like it was paid off. I'd probably be just as happy as her and then very mad when I realized that I got duped. But we'll just move on to apparent late payments.
Okay, this is rude. I paid the day before my due date. They're saying it's past due. Please pay today. Honey, it was paid on the 7th. It's not my fault you're not taking it out of my bank day of, right? And it happened right before a weekend. Like, I understand. So I called them today, and immediately the guy goes, oh, this is your account. So I see that we have a late payment on here. There's not going to be any fees. I was like, is it going to affect my credit score? No, it's not going to affect your credit score. I can see that it was posted on the 7th, but it just hasn't been paid yet. So we're just waiting for that to come through. I jumped out of my seat. Okay, can we chill for 1 single second? I have never missed a payment in my life.
Mine's doing the same thing. The worst part is it's still gaining interest while processing. If my credit card can take the money out the day of, Nelnet can too. But there is a good point from another comment. You should always make a payment 2 to 3 days before. It sometimes doesn't process immediately, but it does show how slow all of this could be. Luckily, she didn't have any late fees for it or hurting her credit score, but it definitely could have happened. But to finish off this video, we have a little update from the clip that's up on screen right now. If you've seen any of these student loan crash outs or really any of these examples on social media, this is probably the most popular. Got a ton of attention and views, but we could go over to the follow-up.
Okay, this is the only comment that I'm going to be responding to, and then I'm moving on past the viral crash out. I want to start by saying thank you so much to like the nice, kind comments I got, the support, the advice. You guys, I really do appreciate that. I never said my debt was anyone else's responsibility. I understand that that is 100% something I signed on for. But my whole point of the video is that I don't think, as a 17-year-old kid who's never been taught anything about finance, anything about interest, these are not things that they teach you in high school. So how am I supposed to know you can read a contract? I'm 17 years old. When I signed up for this, I was 17. When you were 17, if you knew all this stuff, great. good for you, but you are not in the majority.
And to be honest, I agree with her. I did not learn anything in high school with personal finance. Everything that I know now, I've looked up online, informational YouTube videos. I personally never learned a thing. So like I said earlier, hopefully these videos reach a larger audience with all the TikTok examples and the drama that goes along with it. I feel like more people would be interested in these topics comparing to me pulling out a whiteboard and making it feel like a boring lecture, because you need to have this type of knowledge as early as possible to be able to set yourself up for the future. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.